Hey guys, so today we're going to be making a Valentine's Day soap since we're getting close to February 14th. I'm not going to do too many because I don't want to have too much in my inventory, but I'm probably only going to do about two. So today we're doing a Valentine's Day soap with some soap frosting on the top. Here we're just mixing in and blending our oils together with our lye solution. So the batter is a little thick here. This is because it's cold in the house right now. So depending on the temperature at home, your batter will be a little thick when it's cold or a little, thinner or more liquidy if it's really hot outside. But this batter being thick like this is not going to affect the soap at all. Here we're just gonna put our fragrance oil into the batter and mix it in using a spatula. We're gonna use a spatula right now and not the stick blender because we don't want it to get any thicker than it already is. So you can see the size. It looks like the fragrance oil changed the color a little bit. It looks a little green. I should have zoomed in so you could have seen it. But when I was doing it, it really looked green and I was a little nervous. But as I continued to mix it, everything turned out okay. And the fragrance smells amazing. The fragrance that I used today was Brambleberries Candied Citrus. And when I say that's one of the best fragrances, that's my favorite. And Brambleberry has a bunch of different fragrances that you can use for cold process soap. So at this point, as you can see, I'm just scraping down the sides just to get all the soap down in there and get it all mixed in good with the fragrance. So here we have our two colors that we're going to mix today. This one is called Really Red from Nurture's fragrance, Nurture soap. And we're going to mix a little bit of our batter in to get the color incorporated into the batter to change the color.
It helps the speaker lead his audience into the scene he describes by creating an imaginary picture. Usually it's something that moves.
So at this point is where I noticed that the batter was it was a fairly decent red. It wasn't as red as I was hoping, but I have another red that I purchased from Amazon that makes the batter really extremely red, but I shied away from using that. The last time I used it, it made my batter turn from red to brown. So depending on what colors you mix, what colors you're using, you have to be very careful with the colors and the fragrances because the fragrance oils will sometimes turn your colors to a different color. Here it looks a little pinkish. When I was doing it, it looked a lot redder, but it looks a little pinkish. You'll see once we do the cut. Now we're going to use our pink. It's called Hot Pants from Mad Micas. We're going to repeat the process that we just did with the red, and we're going to mix a little bit of our batter into the cup. I'm trying to get a good angle for you guys to see, but that's not really working out here. So now that we've got through that part of mixing the batter into the color, let's go ahead and stir it. And you see I'm not stick blending because I don't want my batter to get any thicker than it is. I'm using a spatula. And this hot pants pink is pretty, looks like a kind of a pastel. I was going for a little darker pink, but it's gonna work for what we're trying. Looks good. Batter is nice and thick, but it's not too thick. I'm gonna add a little bit more hot pants because I just want it a little darker at this point. So I'll show you how much we're actually going to add. It's not going to be a lot, just a little bit. And once I add that little bit, I usually like to spray it with the alcohol because for some reason, once you hit the soap and the mica with the alcohol, it just brightens that color. So there's our handy dandy bottle. Put a few spritzes, mix, and you're gonna watch that go to a little bit deeper pink than we had before. So now you can see it's a lot pinker, well, a little pinker than it was. I'm satisfied and content. Let's see how this works. So here we're now going to do what they call in the pot swirl. So this is my second time trying the in the pot swirl, and I suck at in the pot swirls. I realized that once I cut my first batch, and it just looked like a hot mess. So I'm trying it again to see how this works. But before we do that in the pot swirl, let's add in our beautiful white titanium dioxide to make the rest of the batter white. So we're just going to mix it in little by little because we don't want it to be too white. We just want it that nice, pretty white that contrasts with our pink and red color. So we're going to mix that in really good. And I noticed once I put the titanium dioxide in, my batter got a lot liquidy than it was before. So it's going to come to a point that we're going to have to use our stick blender to thicken up the batter. And you'll see me do that in a moment.
It helps the speaker lead his audience into the scene he describes by creating an imaginary picture. Usually it's something that moves.
And I wanted to come back just to let you know that this part takes a little bit of time mixing it in there. As you can see, I really don't use gloves, which I'm supposed to when I'm working with lye. I know the soap makers are watching this video and cringing. However, yeah, it's gonna take a little bit of time before I actually get a chance to stick blend it because I have to go slow. So just enjoy the music until we get to that part. Thanks for your patience. So unfortunately, I missed that part of stick blending, but you get the drift. You see that the batter is thicker. I could have sworn I caught that shot, but nope, I didn't. However, our batter is no longer the yellow cocoa butter, shea butter color that it was at one point. So now that we have our batter, the color that we wanted, We're now going to prep to do the in the pot swirl. This part also takes some time. I'm propping up my soap mold, trying to get it exactly at the angle I need it to be so that way we can run our colors down the side. Don't forget to spray with rubbing alcohol so that everything is clean. So what I'm doing here now, I have my cup of white, my cup of red. Is that the red? I'm not sure. It looks like the red. Yes, it's the red. I'm pouring it to the back of the cup. Well, I want to pour it to the back of the cup when I get to that part, but it's slowly coming. It's slowly coming. There were a lot of parts throughout the video where I'm very idle. I tried to do the fast forward thing. I'm just getting the hang of this. Please bear with me. So you'll see a part where I'm idle. I'm just trying to get everything together so that we can keep moving along. But I will get to that part when I'm able to fast forward and cut. Bear with me, people. So you're seeing that I poured the red to the back of the cup, and now we are just going to pour and stick to one side. And I want it to get at an angle where you can see it a little better. Just gonna try to get as much in there as we possibly can. You don't have to worry about completely taking out all of the batter from the cup or scraping it, because we're just gonna keep interchanging the colors. Once we get to the end, you'll see that I will start scraping out the cups because we want to get as much of our soap into our mold as possible.
So then, why?
Now we're going to use our pink and do the same process, pour into the back of the cup. And pour into the side of the mold. Now I'm going to scrape that cup out a little bit just so we can get as much white into the mold as possible. I know it already looks very white, but I decided to go ahead and scrape that cup out and refill it with some more white.
The speaker lead his audience into the scene he described by creating an imaginary picture. Usually it's something that moves.
Now here we're going to pour more of the red in, and it's going to break through that white. Trying to get as much out as I possibly can.
It helps the speaker lead his audience into the scene he describes by creating an imaginary picture. Usually it's something that moves. So then, why?
I really wish I had more space so you guys could see the complete process. But as you see, I'm over here working on the left hand and you can't see. But I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I'm scraping my container, the red, into the white, into the back of the cup. Let's not forget that part. So that way I can pour into our batter. And at this point, I now have to tap the cups, as you see, slightly, because the batter is getting really thick. The longer the process, the batter starts to get thick, and you just gotta work with what you got and get through the process. Finish the project. It's still gonna come out fairly pretty, I hope. This is only my second in the pot swirl, so we'll see. But now, as you can see, I think that is the red that's finished. Nope, that's the pink. We have more red than pink. So the pink is finished. And now we're going to move on to the red. And you will see that I am no longer just doing what I was doing in the beginning and mixing and blending. Now I'm just trying to hurry through the process and get the soap in there as fast as I possibly can before it seizes up on me and then the top looks like what the heck. So just bear with me. Thank you. This is our last pour, and what I'm gonna do is just try to get as much out as I possibly can. Tapping that cup, and it's a mess. When I use soap, there's a mess. There's a mess on the floor. There's a mess on your clothes. There's a mess on the counter. The sink is a mess. Everything is a mess. Soaping is very messy. So if you're the type of person that don't like too much mess, this is probably not going to be for you. Maybe it will. You never know. It's satisfying to me. Soaping is very satisfying to me. It takes me to a comfortable place. It allows me to meditate in my own way and mess up batches. Trust me, if you're just starting out, you're gonna mess up batches. You don't know how many batches I've messed up, set to the side, put to the back of the shelf. They're never on the website. I don't post them on my social media because they're ugly. And sometimes your batches don't always come out how you want them, and it's still soap, so you use them. So once they cure, we use them, but we don't sell them, especially if they're really, really ugly. So now that I have most of my soap into my mold, I'm going to take it off the cloth, lay it flat, and tap it just so we can get all of those air pockets out. We don't want to tap it too much because we don't want the colors to blend and get ugly and just become one big pink bar of soap. Because it's looking more pink now than red. So let's see what it looks like in 24 hours once it dries. In addition to this video, I was not able to add the cut because I added this portion of the video and then did the cut 24 hours later. And now I'm trying to figure out how to add that part of the video to this video. So you might see the cut during this video, you might not, but we're gonna try to figure it out. And if we don't, you can always see the cut on social media. We are on TikTok, Denise Essentials, Facebook, Denise Essentials, Instagram, Denise_Essentials. So all of our cuts will be there. And we promise that we will get better at making these videos because it's not easy. And I've shied away from it for a whole year. I've been doing soaping for, I want to say around this time I started last year, 2021. We are now in 2022, and I found something that I fell in love with. My husband was so annoyed with me. He was like, "Oh, babe, you gotta find something to do. You're so talented. You need to put that talent into something and start a business." And I'm like, yeah, I want to start a business, but I don't want to get into something that I'm only going to be interested in for a few months and spend all of my money starting up a new business, and then tomorrow I wake up and I don't want to do this anymore, because that is so me. But so far it's a year in and we are still kicking and we are still selling soaps to you guys, and my supporters out there have been amazing. Okay, this little thingy here, right here, I am using just to texture the top. Don't worry about seeing the top because we're gonna use soap frosting, so you won't see the top. I just have this impulsive thing, and it's not just me, it's anybody who makes soap. It's an impulse that you have to do something to the top, so I just can't leave my tops, even though you're not gonna see the top, but I'm just gonna do it anyway, and it looks pretty. So I'm gonna do this part and we're gonna set the soap aside and then make our batter for our frosting. And a lot of people use different kind of soaps for soap frosting. I've learned to not spend a whole bunch of money on other kind of soap just to make frosting. I use my cold process soap method to make my frosting, and I just let it sit until it thickens. And yeah, that's that. That's what I do. So I also missed the clip of making the soap frosting. Sorry about that. But it's the same process of making cold processed soap. I just used the titanium dioxide to make it white. And that was pretty much it. So our next part will be the top of the soap. So we have everything prepped and ready to go. Our soap frosting has been made and I started before I could record. Piping soap is not easy. I'm sure piping pastries and cakes is not easy, so I will give it up to our bakers out here who pipe all the time and make these pretty little fancy cutesy flowers and things. Yeah, it's not as easy as it looks when you're watching the videos, the soap videos. I've got better. Um, Also, my tip is a little small, so I have to go and do little pieces of piping throughout the soap in order to get the height that I'm looking for and for it to go all the way across the soap. So this is a hot mess. I am by far not one of your best soap pipers at all, but it's not going to stop me from continuing to get better. I will get there. And of course, I have my video cut off so you can't see the whole thing. I don't know why. I need more space. I will have more space one day. I claim it. I claim it. I claim it. I claim it. So hopefully we get to a point where we adjust the soap so you can see the bottom. That would be fun, wouldn't it? So you can see I decided to add some pretty pink sprinkles in between our piping. So there's sprinkles throughout the whole top of the soap as opposed to just on the top. So we are quickly approaching the end of this loaf that we've made, our Valentine's soap loaf. I'm going to add a few more sprinkles to the top. It looks like I moved it over, then I moved it back. I'm gonna get this together one day. I'm gonna get it. But we're gonna add our sprinkles to the top, and that's about it. We're gonna let it dry, and hopefully I'll be able to add the other part of the video. If not, like I said, you can go on our Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok and see the cut, but I'm definitely gonna try to do that. Thank you for watching and goodbye for now. Told you I was gonna figure this thing out. Haha, look what we got here. 24 hours later and we're making the cut, and I was able to add it to this video. I'm so excited. Told you I was gonna get the hang of this. And the more I try, the more I do videos, the more I'll get better. That's just like with soaping. The first batch is never the best batch. Sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. But we're here at the cut. Do you see the colors? So there's a little icky part. I would love to pull up, get closer. That little icky part right there. So it's not really icky. What happens is once you've used your molds for over a year, which we are over a year on most of our molds, once you've used them a few times for, like I said, over a year, they start getting worn down on the inside. So once they start getting worn, they kind of mess up the sides, which really doesn't mess up the soap, because we can always shave it down or make it pretty, which is what we always do. So just watch this part. Look at that. We're gonna pull one out. Let's see. Beautiful. Look at that. So it's better than my first in the pot swirl. And I'm pretty proud of those little glaciers of strawberry and cream. And that red did not do what I wanted it to do. It's more of a pink, but I'm still satisfied with the overall outcome of this soap. I'm glad I was able to add this part for you guys so you can see the cut, because that's always important. I hate to watch a soap video and don't see the cut at the end. Thank you, like, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.